Man. All right. Miles.
Yep.
Miles.
Yeah, it's been a while, bud.
Been a while. What you been up to, man? Here, you talked about earlier at class today. Just one class on Wednesdays. Today's Wednesday, right?
Yeah, today's Wednesday.
Sweet.
Monday, Wednesday, I just have, my schedule worked out really well this year compared to the last. It was just the semester. I had classes every day, scattered all over the place. So I was at campus just for hours and hours, like with breaks in between. And this year it's just perfect. All three classes in a row, Tuesday, Thursday. Monday, Wednesday is just one, so I don't have to really, and no class Friday, which is phenomenal.
Where are you taking classes?
UNH.
UNH, the U!
Yeah,
there you go. What sort of classes? What classes are you taking? Like, what are you going for?
My major is sports studies, and eventually I'm going to switch over to exercise science once it opens up. It's just a really tiny major, so there's not a lot of spots available. Usually people start in sports studies or sports relations and then switch over if they want to later. So a lot of the classes, the prereqs are all the same. So eventually I'd like to open up a gym. That's the goal.
Nice.
Yeah, just because my pension with the Coast Guard only lets me work 12 hours a week. But if I own my own business, those aren't recorded hours, so then it doesn't. I can cash in on both.
So you can cash in on both? You can like work and then get your pension?
Yeah, as long as it's not a job that's recorded hours, it's fine.
Yeah, so for those of you, if you want to like recap that, give a little background. You know, you were in the Coast Guard, and I met you. So way back, like 3 years ago now, we met at the Manifest Destiny Festival, I was moving out to California, and I remember it very vividly. We were playing some backyard games, some drinking games, and you kind of told me your story, which I'll let you kind of go into in a little bit, and then I told you mine about, me and Tony, obviously we went to school together, we were homeboys, we were living in Boston at the time. We're moving our way out to San Diego. We're about to take off tomorrow, and this is our shindig, our final goodbye to everyone. So we had that all-day festival and into the night, and you were like, oh, that's awesome. Like, I would love to go with you. And I was just like, I kind of said it kidding. I'm like, just come on. Like, all you need to do is pack a bag. We're leaving tomorrow. Just show up at my house. Gave you my address, and the next day, lo and behold, you show up with Tony, and then it's pretty much history. Yeah, you made it all the way across the coast. You stayed with us for like 2 weeks. But so go even further back. I want to let you, the listeners kind of get a tale of who you are and kind of the story that you mentioned about working for the Coast Guard.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, both my parents were in the military. They were in the Air Force and the Army. Dad and mom respectively. So I enjoyed school outside this lab. So I didn't want to go to college and pay for something that I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I joined the Coast Guard after talking to some relatives that are also in the Coast Guard and other military services, and they thought it'd be the best for me. So we went to boot camp about 2 months after high school. Then my first boat was in Virginia. Then I was stationed in the Middle East for a little while in Bahrain. Then I went to corpsman school in California. Then I went to Jersey, where I was in Cape May. Then I went to Hawaii and Alaska, and then back to Jersey. And then my whole medical thing happened, where I got diagnosed with a brain tumor after I had a seizure one day. I just had to get to the airlift to the trauma center because I just basically had like no vitals at all on the basketball court after like a 25-minute seizure. And so I had brain surgery a couple days later. Got medically discharged from the Coast Guard about a year and a half later. And that's actually roughly the time that I came home and was just basically, I had nothing to do. I had a pension. I was still not fully healthy, and I didn't really have any plans at that time. So when I went to the party, and we just had a blast, where we got randomly paired up as drinking partners for the day. We just started murdering everybody at Can Jam, Dice, Pong, like just running the table no matter what it was. So we bonded pretty quick.
So
each game we crushed it.
Yeah. So pump the brakes a little bit. Let's go back. So you're in the Coast Guard at the time, and
yeah, that was a lot.
So
that was a lot of ones.
Yeah. So when were you diagnosed with a brain tumor? You were in the Coast Guard and you were stationed. Were you back in Jersey?
Yeah, I was in Cape May, New Jersey. I wanted to go to PA school, So I was a corpsman, and I just kind of wanted to further my medical career. So I thought being a PA would be like a nice, not easy, but it's just shorter than becoming a doctor. It's like it's a couple of years versus like over a decade of school. But yeah, one day I was just playing basketball at lunch, had a 20-minute seizure. I have no history of any neurological issues, and yeah, I had a seizure that was pretty bad. And next day at
basketball.
Yeah, like 2 minutes into the game. I actually felt kind of lucky because I forgot to take the trash out at my apartment, and I was going to go home and do that. And if I had not been talked into going to play basketball, I would have been like 2 minutes up the parkway and just probably crashed and died. So, I mean, all things considered, it went pretty well.
Damn.
Yeah, so
you had a 25-minute seizure, no vitals.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like I was still like mildly breathing. It just everything was like really like very low.
So you
my
weren't
pulse
flatlining or anything?
Oh no, I still had a pulse, but it just was so weak, and I was not breathing. My pulse ox was down in the 60s, and just my body was just not doing super hot. But then the medics showed up. They brought me back. Basically, they just gave me some diazepam, which kind of stops the seizure and lets your body sort of recover. Then they airlifted me to the trauma center in Atlantic City, of all places. And so, like, yeah, it's wild. This hospital is actually connected to Caesar's Palace. They share the same parking garage, which is a little foreboding, I guess.
Wow.
In hindsight, because yeah, it's like you're getting your brain cut open in the same building, technically, that I just used to get fucking absolutely shit-faced in. So, yeah, little stuff.
Wow.
My mom was, I was leaving.
I don't know if that's ironic or what the word to describe that as, but that's pretty crazy.
That was just, I thought it was funny. As we were leaving the hospital, I was with my mom and dad, and my head was wrapped all up. I looked like trash, and I was just sitting on the bench out front with my mom waiting for my dad to pull a car around. And I jokingly told my mom, I was like, don't feel bad. This is not even close to the worst I've leaving this building.
I'm sure she loved that.
She was just not thrilled.
Yeah, I'm sure she really appreciated that.
Yeah, but sadly, it's true. That building took a lot of years off me.
So, did you recently get surgery? How many surgeries have you had?
I've only had 2. I had another one. After my first surgery, they really thought nothing was going to become of it. They thought it would be seizures now and again, but for the most part, they thought the type of tumor would just stay dormant. And that was kind of how it was going until earlier this year, February, or late February, I had an MRI, and my tumor had almost fully grown back, and they wanted to have surgery that same week. But I was towards the end of the semester and didn't basically just want to, like, in the middle of second semester, just have to just call it quits. So I just waited till finals in May and then had surgery a couple days after that. And it was somehow out of the hospital the very next day. There was a lot more successful surgery. And they woke me up in the middle of the surgery, like, so they could test my motor function as they cut away at it. So, because it's attached to my motor cortex. And if they cut that, then I'd be paralyzed on my left side, based off where they cut it. So they wake you up, and as they cut away at it, they'll like have you grip something, and when your grip starts to weaken, they know they can't cut more, so they can get a lot closer. So that's why this surgery, yeah, it's pretty weird thinking about it. You're just more, it's kind of like a really lucid dream. Like you can't feel anything, and you're not really there. It's just you can respond to stuff. It just doesn't feel like it's really happening.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. Yeah, but it went a lot better. The doctors and stuff up here, I think, were a lot more experienced, and it wasn't such an emergency situation like last time. So they were able to just get a lot more done, get a lot more out. And this time around, they were more aggressive afterwards, and just started I did finish radiation 3 weeks ago. All my hair fell out. You can see the scar.
Oh, damn, yeah.
Yeah, so my hair fell out all over in the back as well.
That's
back
crazy.
in a couple months, but I'll be under chemo on Friday. I go to my neuro-oncologist this Friday with my dad. Check it out.
Man, that's intense.
Yeah,
man.
it's wild.
Yeah, I remember. So you vaguely told me like a short-handed story of that when we first met, when we were playing drinking games or whatever, and then I didn't really, think much of it. I'm like, oh, that's a crazy story, and that was the first time I met you. So, and I kind of cared about my day. And then cut till tomorrow, like the day after that, when we start our road trip, and when we set out, and nothing really happened until we got to Vegas.
Yeah.
And so the whole time we're switching off drivers. Like I'm driving during at night, you drove for a little bit, Tony was driving. We went, to Niagara Falls, which was great. We actually hopped that fence and went to like a restricted area to take that picture.
Tony's being a little bitch. He wouldn't do it.
Yeah, wouldn't do it. Yeah,
'cause we couldn't see anything. The Canada side is sweet. It's got casinos and lights and shit, and we just have that lame walkway that you can't even go out to past 8.
Yeah,
so that was lame. But yeah, Tony being a little baby.
Yeah. So we went.
You gotta get a pic.
We went to Notre Dame, Chicago. We went to the world's greatest, or the world's biggest cuckoo clock,
which was a total letdown.
And it didn't even cuckoo. We were there at like 4 a.m. though.
Yeah,
so
true. Still, didn't get the best time on. But still.
Went to Iowa, the Field of Dreams. That was
Notre
cool.
Dame was surprisingly. Remember how easy it was at Notre Dame just to like walk into the stadium and just get to the basketball court?
Yeah, we walked right onto the court.
There was no security at all.
No, none. I think they were changing out too. I don't know if they play hockey there too. But yeah, we walked right out onto the court. We tried to get on the football field, but that was all gated up.
Yeah.
But that was actually pretty cool. Their campus is pretty sweet.
Yeah. Super rich school.
So we went through Iowa, the Field of Dreams, where, do you remember driving through Iowa, that ridiculous storm that we hit?
Yeah.
And we couldn't.
Terrifying.
I was driving and it was raining so hard. There was like a 4-lane highway and I couldn't see anything around.
The lanes next to it.
Yeah, I couldn't see the lane lines. I couldn't see cars up ahead until we see like lights.
Yeah.
I wanted to pull over on the side of the highway, but I was thinking, I'm like, if I pull over, someone's gonna collide into me when they can't see me.
It was terrifying. It was pretty wild. I've never seen rain that hard.
Me either. It was absurd. I couldn't see the window. The wipers were going as fast as they can, and they weren't doing anything.
Didn't matter at all.
So dangerous.
It was whitewashed.
And then we went all the way. Oh, to Denver. Denver was a blast too. We saw the Colorado State game.
Yeah, that dude fell like 15 rows and slammed into all the people.
Yes, dude. He fell like forward like 3 rows onto people.
And then they just started
blacked out. And the guy was
started trying to fight. Yeah, he was like 60 years old, and the people thought he was trying to fight them. But he really just fell. So they turned around and started punching him when he was totally incoherent.
He was just blacked out.
Yeah, Tony missed all this stuff. He didn't see that either.
Tony, where was Tony?
He was right there. He just wasn't paying attention. Same thing in Niagara Falls. He didn't come. He just missed out on a lot of stuff.
When we were in Chicago, he didn't even come out with us. We went to like the museum together, the Millennial Park. We went everywhere.
Which is weird because we had not. I knew Tony my whole life, and you knew him from the last 4 or whatever years of college. And we had known each other for about 48 hours, and we hung out more than we hung out with Tony. The whole
time.
Yeah. But like a lot more.
So nothing happened on that whole. It was a blast. Everything went swimmingly. We saw some cool shit, and then cut to Vegas, where we had to get to Vegas to see the Calvin Harris concert. He was performing at Hakkasan, and we were in the hotel room, just chilling, watching TV,
trying to take a nap,
just resting, taking a nap, and then all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see you kind of like tense up, and I didn't really think anything of it. I'm like, I don't know what Myles is doing. This is kind of weird. And then you go and you start having a seizure. And I'm like, because Tony was lying on the ground. And I was like, hey, Tony, I think, Myles is having a seizure. And he, snaps up. He runs over to you. And because I guess, you obviously know when you have a seizure, you're coherent to what's going on, but you just can't, react to stuff.
Yeah.
So you saw us, either running to you or, freaking out. But you can really...
it's pretty terrifying to see. I obviously, when I'm having it, I don't know what it looks like, but as a foreman, I've seen a lot of people have seizures. Yeah. And it looks terrifying, but in reality, nothing's actually happening. It's just if it lasts too long, then there can be some issues, but it's just basically just like a lightning storm of electricity in your brain, just freaking out. And then after it's over, nothing really happened. It just, you get really tense and it's uncomfortable for the person, but that's basically it. It looks scary then.
That's what Tony said. That was the thing. He was like, time it, and if it's over 25 minutes or half hour, you gotta call someone.
No, even shorter than that. Honestly, anything over 5 minutes, you just call an ambulance.
Anything over 5 minutes?
Yeah, usually mine are about 2 to 3.
And the first one you had was 25 minutes on the basketball court.
Yeah, they were really bad because my tumor was so big and it just was putting so much pressure on my brain, and I'd never had one before, so it just was a big dump of a lot of stuff building up.
So you still have seizures from time to time, or?
They're a lot more mild now. I was having them somewhat more frequently after my surgery, just because it's so much, basically just stuff in your inflammation in your brain and just stimulation going on from it trying to heal. So I was having them somewhat regularly, but just not as severe as they used to be.
Right.
And then recently, my neurologist switched me to almost double my medication at night to try and help me sleep better and just help me carry over into the next day. And since then, I've only had 2 like really mild, mostly just facial and a little bit of my left arm seizures.
Gotcha.
But,
So
yeah,
that one,
not nearly as bad.
that kind of was like a full body one, and then like the next day you were kind of fine. You were like